So Mel, I think we had a fantastic session this morning. We learned a lot of cool stuff. I was very inspired by many speakers.
Absolutely. I had a blast. I think everybody did a really great job. And if you guys were a podcaster, wouldn't you like to have a co-host like Larry Ballard?
Yes.
Did he kill it or what?
Absolutely. It was amazing.
Larry is going to be, not that I'm in competition with Bo Pony, because he happens to be a friend of mine. Okay, guys. Okay, but this guy here. Because we're pressed for time, we're so behind the eight. Oh, we got a problem. Let's do this. Houston, we got a problem. I think we're in the right place for that, right?
So just want to give you a heads up about what you can expect this afternoon. We've had a wonderful time, and I'm not trying to be like, micromanager OCD lady here, but we're running a little bit behind.
Yes.
So we're doing our best to try to kind of catch up, and we want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak and to hear them. So we're going to get started. This afternoon, we're not just going to do sort of standalone presentations. We have a couple of panels mixed up to keep things exciting. So I'd like to welcome to the stage our first group of panelists, which means, Mel, I got to boot you. We only have 4 chairs.
Okay, I guess I'm getting kicked off my own stage.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
I see ya.
All right, Versan, come on up. Dave, come on up. Mikkel, come on up. So you may know many of these faces. They're pretty well known in the digital asset, XRP, financial markets world. And what I thought we could do to make this a little interesting is kind of get some perspectives. You can call them predictions, you can call them forecasts, educated guesses, whatever label you would like to use is fine. But these guys spend a lot of time researching what's going on in the financial system and what digital assets mean for all of us and the role that they're going to play. So I think it'd be kind of cool to have these experts share with us their perspective on what is to come. So I'm just going to start with Mikkel because you're at the end. So let's say we have a big black swan financial crisis, which many of us have speculated. How do you see that playing out? Like, what's the story there?
Awesome. Well, first of all, it's great to be here. Huge shout out to Mel for this amazing event. And I'll just start off by saying, obviously, I am now a financial advisor. I'm not your financial advisor, although I would love to be in the future. So, look, I think a lot of these technologies we're watching right now are going to be critical to how the next generation financial system is going to run. A lot of these things like XRP specifically, there's no other technology on earth that can do what XRP can do. And as I've continued to study this asset class, it's become more and more clear to me that we need an XRP-like asset in the financial system. So as we continue to move forward and as technology continues to dominate the world we live in, it is clear the financial system is in need for that disruption. I have never seen an asset, a technology, or a company more poised to cause that disruption than Ripple and XRP. And therefore, whatever is the catalyst to usher in this new system, which I think we all believe is around the corner, I believe XRP, Ripple, the company, are poised to benefit big because there's only one company, there's only one digital asset that are really being positioned to be the infrastructure for this new system. And Ripple and XRP together is one of the few company technology combinations that can really change the way the system works today.
Awesome. So, Versan, I know you're pretty passionate about the precious metals space. So let's tie in what Mikkel added to how you kind of see this playing out.
Well, first of all, okay, you guys can hear me, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank Mel Carmine for inviting me here and everybody else. So this is great. Need this energy at this time in history. We are at a convergence point where digital technologies are emerging, and we are no doubt going into a digital system. And with the current financial system falling apart, we are certainly going to see a global shift towards currencies that are backed by hard assets. And I believe this is where it's all going. And if we're going to have everything in a digital space that's going to run on a decentralized financial system, it has to be scalable, it has to meet the criteria. And just as Mikkel said, XRP plays that role. It's a very significant piece of the puzzle in solving the global payments problem. And with stablecoins, we see the potential for hard assets to be tokenized and pegged. And I think that's where this is all going. So essentially, we are going to see a new financial system that is pegged by hard assets, and I believe that is the digital revolution as well. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Dave, what is your perspective, and how does it maybe differ from Mikkel and Verson's?
Well, I also want to say thank you to Mel for inviting us down here. I mean, Mel was the one who gave me my first break. I was starting up my channel, and I probably had maybe 2,000 subscribers, and Mel gave me my first interview. And after that interview, man, I got like, I don't know, 3,000 subscribers more out of that. So I really appreciate Mel, and an amazing guy. So if you want me to speak louder? Okay. So good. So right now, I think we're in a very unique point in history, and I think some of the people that have come up and shared that have really kind of highlighted the fact that we are in a very, very rare point that most human beings have ever lived, and it's usually at the end and the beginning of things where you see the greatest level of volatility. We understand right now that this current financial system is imploding literally as we speak. Since 1913, when the Federal Reserve came in, the US dollar has dropped, 98% in value. And it's not too much longer, and this whole entire system is going to absolutely implode on itself. We know that that's what most central banks in the world are actually, and by the way, they're doing it with collusion. They're working together. To think that they're not working together is absolutely insane. And so what's coming next, the infrastructure for this system that we were going to be ushered into has been laid down. And when you talk about, a lot of the nation states that are building central bank digital currencies, remember it's Ripple that is out there helping to establish the infrastructure for what the evolution of money is. Well, XRP has an amazing role in that, and its value. There's only a few ecosystems in this entire digital asset space that can handle the level of volume that will be required to engineer and literally make this whole system work. There's a few. XRP, I'd say, is paramount. There's XLM. There's Hedera Hashgraph. There's a few, and needless to say, what we're watching right now is something that I think a lot of people would have wanted to see in their lifetimes. And to think that we're getting some of these assets sub $1. I mean, when you think that, just the other day, XRP dropped down to 48, 45 cents? And there is a day coming when those numbers people are going to look back and weep because they never clued in to what it was or took advantage of the opportunity they're being presented with. That's what I genuinely believe.
So one of the misleading perceptions one can develop, I certainly do, when you hang out in an echo chamber with people who talk about this type of stuff, is that it creates the perception that a lot of people know what these assets are about and what's going to happen. And you go and leave and go to a random mall or something and interview people, you'll find out that the vast majority have no idea what digital assets are, XRP. So Mikkel, my question to you is, when we kind of emerge on the other side of this new financial system that runs on the blockchain, what's it going to be like for the people who have no idea what's going on?
So I think you make a really good point there. One of the things that I've noticed is people have a really hard time superimposing themselves on people who've been successful. So I talked to a gentleman earlier today who's here about how he was learning about and investing in Bitcoin at $1. Now, a lot of people hear things like that and say, oh, I wish I could be that person. I wish I could have that kind of success, without understanding that this could be a group of people who has that success and is investing in that next big thing. So I think it's really interesting how early and how lucky we are to kind of understand these things at a high level before they've gone mainstream. And I think it's really important that people understand, it's important to look to people who have been successful with these investments and who have done it before to know that it's not impossible. It's something that everyone can achieve. And it's through these groups, it's through these collaborations that we bring like-minded people together and we can really understand what we hold and what the future is going to look like. And I'm firmly convinced, just like those people who are investing in Bitcoin at $1, we're going to be doing those same exact things with this digital asset. And it's so important to know that ability to find these investments beforehand and figure it out before the masses is something that's happened throughout history. It will continue to happen. And I think a great confirmation that we're on the right path is just being in a room like this with such a smart group of individuals, all like-minded, and who all get it. So I think in the future, we're all going to be in a very different position over the long term. And yeah, I'm super excited to see kind of how things like this develop going forward, because it's nice to know that we're kind of in a room with the people who got it from the start and kind of the real visionaries who are here since day one.
All right, Bersan, what's your perspective on how the rest of the world is going to adapt to these new changes?
I think like everything, it's a slow process. Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry. It's a very slow, gradual process. But with the world the way it is, the financial system is collapsing slowly, and people are beginning to realize that these changes are coming, and there's no doubt about this. We can't deny it. So naturally, as these changes come in, the masses, or if you will, the population, they are going to slowly realize that these changes are coming in. So like Mikkel said, good point. We are at the very forefront of this, and I think it's our job to kind of lead the way and show people by example and explain these technologies. And that's really what we do on the channels and our content creation, is to help educate people to understand that these changes are coming, but they're accelerating. So there's going to be a time and place where all of this adoption is set in stone. And I actually believe that this was set in stone a long time ago, and it's just slowly coming out now. So I'm very excited to be here, and I'm very excited that we have the opportunity again to share and teach this to the rest of the people. So thank you guys.
So Dave, along those lines, we have this world now where in order to buy crypto and understand digital assets, you have to be kind of software savvy and understand how to use digital wallets. Do you think that's going to be a learning curve everyone has to go through, or will sort of technology solutions evolve before that's necessary?
Oh, well, this is kind of how I explain this, and this is kind of interesting. So these things right here were invented in 2007, these smartphones, right? You even got grade school kids using these things now. I mean, it has revolutionized the way we interact with one another, the way we transact, how we do our finances, everything. I literally believe that what's going to happen, actually, in one respect, the only one variance I'd say there, I think that what's coming is going to be so catastrophic. People are going to beg for a change. They are going to beg for it. As seamless as this was, I think what's going to happen is our financial system is going to transition very quickly into something new when it actually does all fall apart. And at that point, people will be being educated like you will not believe into how to interact with their internet of value, if you will, or these financial instruments that we're talking about right now. Like monetary instrument, right? It has to have a store of value, unit of account, medium of exchange. Well, XRP fulfills all that, right? It's a store of value, unit of account, medium of exchange. What isn't it right now? Well, it's not legal tender right now. That's all it is. That legal tender designation is going to come. It's going to come. And I do believe that, this current, the petrodollar, it's absolutely dead. We just haven't had the funeral yet, right? So, the thing is, what's going to happen next, though, is another nation going to come in. Are they going to replace the world reserve currency for that nation's currency? I do not believe that. I believe it's going to be agnostic. Now, you may have an organization like the International Monetary Fund, EDSRs, electronic special drawing rates, whatever, backed by gold, but distributed using distributed ledger technology. And I think you're going to see the wide world educate their populations like you have never seen in such a way. And they will be literally giving them their digital wallets, and they're going to be very quickly brought on to the new system. That's how I think it's going to go down.
It's a great segue for my next question. One of the topics that Larry was very passionate about and influential on me was the understanding of geopolitics and the money system. So as we move to this new world where assets are money and money's moved on the blockchain, I'll start with you, Versan, this time. How does geopolitics and a new money system kind of play out? Is it going to be good for humanity, bad for humanity? Like, how do you see that evolving?
Well, I really think that the idea of XRP being a global reserve settlement mechanism backed again by a basket of commodities or hard assets, it's all about really giving financial sovereignty, leveling that playing field between nations. So from a geopolitical perspective, it falls right into place with what we're talking about here, leveling the playing field and giving back financial sovereignty to the to nations all around the world. So I think that's the main key over there in a geopolitical perspective, guys.
So it's sort of a decentralization mechanism where we don't have one global reserve currency owned by a nation?
Well, I think every country will have its own digital currency.
Okay.
And those digital currencies, again, are, part of a global settlement mechanism, which is, again, backed by hard assets. So that's where it's all going, and I'm convinced.
Mikkel, I have another question for you. So I'm going to ask this geopolitical question to Dave first. How do you see the kind of evolution of currencies to digital currencies playing out in the world of geopolitics?
Well, I certainly agree with what Versan just said there. I do believe most nation states around the world right now have been, since probably 2015, building up their infrastructure for central bank digital currencies. I know that for a fact in Canada. In fact, there's a sunset clause on the Bank Act in Canada that literally says that by such and such a date, no foreign bank, no domestic bank, on and on and on. And so we are definitely going towards that system. And what I think is going to happen is you are going to have, I guess I'll say this, our current financial system is based on confidence, right? The US dollar is based on confidence in the economy that is backing it. It is not backed by gold. It is not backed by anything. We know they took us off those standards. Well, when this whole system implodes and the terror that it's going to send through the wide world, because it's going to be global, I think Larry was saying that a lot of nations are going to collapse. You're going to see a lot, total collapse. How are you going to get the populace to really have confidence in another fiat-based system? You're not. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to have a centralized, if you will, global type of currency, and I do believe it's going to be backed by hard assets, absolutely for certain. And I don't know if it's going to be the IMF or another organization that's going to administer that, but I do believe that's what's coming. And from a geopolitical standpoint, I don't think they have any choice. I think this is where the world is going, and it's happening a whole lot faster than what a lot of us imagine. If I may say one other, right now we're being marshaled towards something, and what is it? It's war. I mean, you're literally seeing Germany right now bringing back conscription, Europe bringing back conscription. You have Biden talking about conscription. And, they're wanting to bring the world back to why? Because one of the biggest, things that they have ever conceived of, these central banks, is the military-industrial complex. And if you think that they're done with it, they're not. They're going to continue. They're going to try that. I think they're going to totally fail because I don't think they're going to get the acquiescence that they're looking for. But I absolutely believe that is a part of it. That is a part. And this is where I say the vulnerability is in the end and introduction into the beginning. It's going to be in that period of time.
It's like you read my mind. You gave me the perfect setup for my question for Mikkel. So I've known Mikkel for a while, and when I met him, it was because he is an analyst and covers a variety of different things in addition to XRP, which I'm passionate about. He's very knowledgeable about Palantir. And so as we move to this world where we don't really want to have a one-world government, we don't want to have this massive military-industrial complex that kind of controls things, in the shadows is this company Palantir that is very involved in the military world. And so, Mikkel, is Palantir like on our side in terms of this evolution of things becoming decentralized, or what's the role of these larger companies in our future?
I don't think a company like Palantir is necessarily on our side. AI is an inevitability in the world we're heading into, and it's something that's been worked on for a long time behind the scenes. ChatGPT was the first time the consumer learned about artificial intelligence, but these things have been being developed behind the scenes for an extremely long period of time. Palantir has been doing this behind the scenes, specifically working with the government on their artificial intelligence approach for a while. They've been an AI company for close to 20 years now, and it's a company that's fascinating to me because of their deep ties in a lot of the decision-making going on behind the scenes and applying artificial intelligence to those decisions. If you've ever used ChatGPT before or any kind of large language module, you know how powerful it is in completely revolutionizing the way you can get work done. These things are happening at a very, very high level behind the scenes right now, and ChatGPT was the start of us starting to figure it out, but a lot of this is already happening behind the scenes. I think it just goes back to the larger point that technology is going to continue to disrupt the world at a rapid pace. Things are only going to accelerate faster and faster, and this is a quote from David Schwartz himself. Right now, the financial system is running on essentially 1970s, 1960s technology. that is going to change in a big way. And one of his quotes was, if you don't take anything else from a speech he was given, know that even if cryptocurrencies completely fail and don't succeed, the financial system is going to change in a massive, massive way because it's simply broken and doesn't work anymore. I'm yet to see another technology that even remotely competes with some of the things cryptocurrencies have added to the system. And I continue to believe as Ripple works with the players who matter, with the large central banks, with the governments, with the big tech companies, they're going to be the winner in essentially ushering in these new rails. And XRP is going to be the technology or the digital asset that's poised to benefit most.
So for the past 10 years, the label crypto has created a specific connotation in people's minds, which was amplified in the last couple of years. That it's kind of this speculative asset class that kind of a little bit like startup tech stocks and things like FTX or debacles like FTX really created some cynicism about what is this sort of crypto world really about. So my question to you guys is crypto like something people invest in for hoping some kind of return, or is that era on its way out and we're just going to start to look at digital assets like money and representations of other types of value?
I'll just take this real quick because obviously I had the channel Mickle. A lot of you probably know me from that. But part of me kind of maturing in this space and doing more is being able to help people through their investing journey. So a lot of you probably know Jake Claver. I've teamed up with him. We started Digital Wealth Partners. And there we're looking to just bring professionals together to help you invest into this space with the professionals you're going to need. So I guarantee you most people in this room probably hold assets in their personal name. That's probably not a big deal with lower amounts. But as this asset class appreciates to the levels I think a lot of us think it's going to, well, the richest people in the world don't hold assets in their own name for a reason. The richest people in the world also don't liquidate all their assets at a single price target and delete all their leverage, right? So we're looking to bring a lot of these sophistications to the digital asset market. We're convinced that if we can bring traditional financial products like insurance, like multi-signature custody, and all these things that the biggest institutions are using on a daily basis, we're going to usher in a better, more sophisticated investor base into this industry and cause large pools of capital to move in. So I believe we are going to be investing in this space for a long time into the future. But I think it's time investing in this industry grew up a little bit and we started to usher in institutional grade products that we see in the traditional financial system and frankly being used by players like Ripple. We want to bring these products to retail so you're on the same level as these people and can take advantage of some of the tax strategies and some of the asset allocation strategies that the richest people on earth are doing. So we're a firm believer that we're going to keep investing in this industry and we're looking to partner with people who kind of reach those higher levels of wealth to help them manage that wealth appropriately so you don't have to be an expert in all these different things. You just can focus on your own life and we'll be the experts.
I do want to ask you a counter question. And I think the world of both you and Jake, so this isn't a criticism, but as people kind of invest in these assets, is it a get-rich-quick scheme? Like, how do we shed this sort of former connotation that crypto had? And sort of at the same time, when crypto started, it was kind of this anti-banking rebellion against the system. And now it's like, well, let's just do what all the institutional guys do. How does this all fit together into the next story or season for crypto?
Well, one of my favorite things about the XRP community is I'm a firm believer that no one's here to get rich quick. I think almost everyone here understands the deep value of these technologies and have seen the thesis for a very long time. And this is why this community has really resonated with me. It's a much more sophisticated group of people. It's a group of people who really understand the power of long-term capital appreciation and investing in technologies that are going to grow with the world and become more powerful over time. And it's not a simple, oh, I bought here, get out here, I'm out of this asset class. I think what we've built here is really, really special. And I think a lot of us are invested in XRP because of the thesis of the changes coming to the financial system. And we want to be behind that thesis playing out. So I just think a lot of us get it. We understand these changes that are coming. We understand how the world is going to change. And as XRP and Ripple continue to become a bigger and bigger part in that change, I think it only bolsters our investment thesis. So I believe we're investing in the changes we think are going to come. And I think most people in the XRP community get that, and that's why they're invested in this asset class.
I'd like to kind of take a crack at this question. So all of us in this room, we're in this space because, we already have kind of woken up, right? But we all have family that we've talked about these digital assets with, and they look at us like kind of cross-eyed because, of course, the narrative has always been, oh, that crypto, I mean, back in the day, you had Warren Buffett calling it rat poison squared and everything like that. But now what's happening is, of course, you're seeing the same players that had just dissed it completely. Are they not gobbling it up like hogs at the trough, they're just, the ETFs and everything else like that. Now, one of the things I think is really going to help when we start to talk about our family and our friends and those that have been kind of dissing it and I don't know, is going to be the regulatory clarity piece. So what did we just see recently? We saw the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act get passed by the House. 71 Democrats supported this Republican bill. And so now it's going to the Senate, and Biden had said, well, we're not going to veto that, and I guess we'll see. But the point is that as we see a lot of this regulatory clarity come into play, in jurisdictions around the world, stablecoin legislation is big right now. Why is that? Bank of International Settlements has come out and they've encouraged G20, all these nations, hey, try and get some, legislation in space, and they are working with one another so that the message is very similar to one another or jurisdictions around the world. Well, that's going to really help, isn't it? I mean, it's going to help with saying, hey, look, it's legitimized practically now. We got all this kind of stuff. And when you think about this, right now, like what I was saying earlier, we're buying it, $1, sub $1, stuff like that. Well, what happens with regulatory clarity? Well, you think about all these major pension plans, hedge funds, and all these things that have these fiduciary restrictions. They can't touch this space with a 10-foot pole. Well, once that all gets resolved, boy, are they going to come in like crazy. Now, when they come in and your pension plan's investing in it, your hedge funds, all this is investing in it, well, what's going to happen? Well, the risk is going to come down in it. And when the risk comes down, what comes down with it? The ultimate reward, right? Think about this. For everybody that's in their mind thinking, yeah, I can't wait till XRP's $100, I'm going to sell it. There's got to be someone else on the other side of that equation buying it at $100. What do you think's in their mind? Well, they're thinking, well, I'm hoping it's going to $200. Well, you're getting it at 50-some cents. Now, you think about that, I always love to say it's like the Go West Wing, man, back in the day when they were saying, hey, go west. Well, the Lewis and Clarks were the trailblazers. Well, then came the pioneers. They loaded up their wagon, they roughed it all, they went all the way out there. And then after the pioneers, then came the settlers, the merchants, and then the industry. Well, who benefited the most? Well, it was, of course, the original trailblazers, but then the pioneers, right here. Yeah, they brought the railroad in and all that, after all the little towns. So that's where we are. We are pioneers. I really do believe that. And I do believe that once we see all this regulatory clarity, it's going to be a whole lot easier to talk to our friends and family about it. But at that point, hey, the major move has already taken place, right? So, that's how I look at it.
Yeah, real quick. One thing I'd like to say is when you're investing in crypto, first of all, I think the institutions actually mixed in the technologies that are going to be adopted by the institutions with other lesser alternatives, like, for instance, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Obviously, we know that there are technologies out there that surpass their technology, so why the hell are we still using it, right? I think they mixed it in intentionally to create mass confusion, and that's what we've seen so far. A lot of people don't even understand this stuff, and then you see people out there who got bit by FTX and some of the other cryptos out there. So again, we're kind of helping them understand the technologies that are going to be used by the new system. What else? Also, I do want to poke into the AI stuff. I think technology could be used to free us or enslave us. So we just need to be mindful of that. And I think AI is very disruptive in many ways. It could be, again, positive or negative. But to some degree, I see it being a negative in the short term because it's going to wipe out all the jobs. That's something we should be mindful of. a lot of people use, there's a lot of AI that is going to knock out the jobs out there. So I just think we should be mindful of that. So very, very dangerous too. So we opened Pandora's box, I believe, with AI. And, again, it could be used to free us or enslave us. So we'll have to see what happens there. Thank you, guys.
Last question. This is going to be more an opinion question. So one of my favorite stories of this chapter of our life is the GameStop stuff and this roaring kitty, like underdog kind of taking down the gross naked short stuff that these hedge funds have been doing. And one thing that we kind of learned by observing what happened yesterday was that retail may not have as much of an impact on the price of these assets as we were led to believe. So let's hop over to the digital asset space and even the price of XRP, for example. Do you think, in your opinion, that the price of these assets is based on whatever we're watching trading on TradingView or CoinGecko or whatever app you're watching?
Hello. Oh, there we go. No, I don't think so. A question I get all the time on my channel is, Mikkel, aren't you worried about an XRP ETF? It will allow them to manipulate the price of XRP. And I kind of just sit there laughing a bit. I was like, I think they might already do that quite a bit. I'm a firm believer that there's some very, very big players who kind of control the markets behind the scenes. I think they control a lot of the volume and can kind of push price where they want to go. I think if you compare the price chart of XRP and XLM to the rest of the crypto industry, you'll notice stark differences between how those assets move versus assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And some people might chalk that up as a coincidence. I don't believe there are coincidences when it comes to some of these top tier digital assets. I think big money knows exactly what's going on here. And while I don't have an answer for what's happening or why it's happening, I think what we see with our eyes is not something we're making up. I think it's fairly obvious. And I think what I believe is likely happening is there's very large players at play here behind the scenes, and they understand that a price chart is just emotion. And if they can use a price chart to control people's emotion, they can control who gets in or out of a single asset. So I'm a firm believer that until we really do have wide-scale adoption of a lot of these technologies, they're going to use the price charts to play games with us, and I believe that's a lot of what we've seen over the past couple of years.
Now, as someone knowledgeable in AI, do you think tools like Aladdin are messing with these prices?
Oh, I think they use, if you watched the Roaring Kitty thing the other day, he was specifically making comments like, I'm ending the stream. And at that specific comment he made, you actually saw institutional programs picking up on the words he was saying and halting the stock in real time as he was releasing specific keywords. And one of the crazy things about what he did was he came out with Band-Aids all over himself, drinking a beer to kind of hide the fact that he was sophisticated enough to know about this stuff. But he's a former compliance guy. He knew exactly what he was doing. The institutions have algorithms that run in real time and monitor every single thing that happens in the market, even to a YouTuber live streaming. And he was playing with those algorithms in real time, manipulating them, and purposely proving to his audience that if he said certain things, the institutions would react accordingly. And he caused multiple pauses on the stock simply by him faking ending the live stream. So they are not only doing it with GameStop and Roaring Kitty, it runs much, much, much deeper than that. And this is something that's been rolled out for a very long period of time, and it's going to continue to be rolled out.
I just think the market's rigged, always has been rigged. Yeah. And I think, again, the market is rigged. It always has been rigged against us. So this is, again, once in a lifetime opportunity for all of us to have that level playing field and participate in the greatest wealth transfer in human history, in my opinion. And again, owning cryptocurrency is, well, you're acquiring a piece of the software that's building the infrastructure for tomorrow. And that's the way I look at it when I invest into these things. And like David said, there are a few of them. And just so people understand, there's not going to be necessarily one to rule them all. I think they complement each other in many ways. So there are people out there that say, oh, no, this is going to be the one or this one, XLM. I think they complement each other because they're targeting different niche places in the global marketplace. So there you go. Yeah. Diversify your portfolio and hold hard assets as well. So.
All right, Dave, finish this up. What is your final words of wisdom, predictions? You can cable that last point or do whatever you like.
Well, I like what both of these guys just said there because, I mean, they have manipulated these markets, these digital asset markets for a long time. I mean, we know that they use fear, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They use the fear of missing out kind of deal. I mean, let's remember the very measurement of this market is fear and greed, right? The fear and greed index. And I mean, no good decisions are based on fear, right? And I always like to say, is greed a motivator? Well, yeah, greed is a motivator, but it's also a deceiver. And boy, do they know every little string to pull. And think about this, while we're watching right now, like look, our channels get absolute pummeled with FUD over, over XRP, right? All the time, just FUD. And the thing I kind of think is when the sentiment is as low as it is right now, yet you have, you can look at the data, on-chain data, and you're watching major whale wallets gobble up, $300 million worth of XRP in a 24-hour period? Boy, does that ever tell you something right there. I'll tell you what. And I don't care how much they shake the tree. I'll ride it all the way to zero, man. I'm not giving up right now.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate your perspectives and opinions on this stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Molly. You're a great host.
And thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Molly, and thank you, Mel. This has been incredible, and it's been awesome getting to meet all of you as well, so thank you.
I want to say the same, and I am not a public speaker like this, so a little bit, I'm just glad to be with an audience here that understands where we're coming from, so thank you guys. I appreciate all the support.
Yeah, thank you guys. You know what? We create the content, but you guys are the community. You're the community. We're all a community together. That's the way it is, man. Oh, yes, sir. That's right. It's the XRP Army, right?
Welcome to CarminesGold.com. Don't waste not even a second looking. Cheaper prices just don't exist. How important is it for you to own gold and silver right now? What does it mean to me personally? There's an economy that's about to crash beyond what words can explain. In 5 words, I'm going to educate you on gold and silver. Are you ready? You need to own some. Simple. Time is of the essence as the walls are closing in. This crash is visibly in motion right now. Don't kid yourself. The only way to preserve wealth is to become your own central bank. Just by owning gold and silver, the banks that are going into survival mode are currently stacking gold and silver like it's going out of style. You have the same opportunity instead of keeping your money in paper, which is worthless. Again, this is not financial advice. Going into survival mode is everything. Preserving your wealth and positioning your family to thrive in the near future is paramount. The time to take action is beyond crucial. God's money cannot be faked. It's got intrinsic value. It's got plenty of usability. And because the crypto game could be extremely complicated for most, this becomes the only way to preserve your wealth in the current times we live in. The price manipulation that has occurred over the last 150 years is about to come to a full stop as we move into an extremely different world. And the true value of gold and silver is going to shine like never before. The people who vividly see what's happening have moved into panic buying right now. The people who get it, who are positioned for wealth preservation, who are accumulating every week, every month, stand to change their course of history for 100 generations to come. Buying gold and silver from CarminesGold.com at unbeatable prices is the best decision you'll ever make. I'm going to end by saying this. This is my opinion and not financial advice. This crash is knocking on the door, and it's clear. It's here. We can fill any size order, $500, $500,000, and yes, even $10 million. Your best option to preserve wealth, if you don't understand cryptocurrency, is gold and silver. Do it now.